All right, so what we're going to look at today is solving equations with absolute value. So again, our goal is to have evaluate absolute expressions, but mainly we're going to look at actually just solving absolute value expressions. All right, absolute value equations. That's a lot of fun to say, absolute value equations. You get stumbled over your words here. So this is what it is. It's chapter 2, section 5. So we're going to look at what absolute value means. What absolute value means is it means the distance from 0. And so you should be writing a lot of this stuff down, just kind of some examples. So absolute value is the distance from 0. So I ask you, what is the absolute value of x if the absolute value of x is 3? Well, what we can do here is I could put a 3 in place of x. I could say x is equal to 3 because 3 is 3 spots from 0. I could also say x is negative 3 because if we look at negative 3, it's 1, 2, 3 spots from 0. So if I see something like this, the absolute value of x equals 3, what number can I put in place of x to make this true? Well, I can have 3. The absolute value of positive 3 is 3. And also the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So it would look like something like this. Absolute value of 3 or the absolute value of negative 3. Both of these equal 3. Because absolute value asks the distance from 0. Or a way to think about it, if you see absolute value bars, it always means the positive value. You may think, well, what does this have to do with equations? Well, let's take a look here. When we're solving, there's 2 cases. The expression inside the absolute value is positive, or 0, and the expression inside the absolute value is negative. So if I have the absolute value of d equals 10, that means d can equal negative 10, or d can equal a positive 10. So both of these statements are true because if I plug 10 into here, the absolute value of 10 is 10, and the absolute value of negative 10 is also 10. All right? You may think, okay, Mr. Harris, you said we're going to talk about equations. Those don't look like equations. Those just look like statements. Well, it is an equation. It has an equal sign. But we are going to be solving equations using absolute value. So we're going to look here. We're going to, with the absolute value of y minus 3 equals 6. So what it's saying here is what numbers can I plug in for y, where when I solve this, I will still get a positive 6. Well, if we look back at our 2 cases, 1 will equal a negative, 1 will equal a positive. So what I have here is I actually have 2 equations. I have y minus 3 equals 6. So I took whatever was inside the absolute value, I took it out. And then I also have y minus 3 equals negative 6. This is case 1, where it's equal to a positive. This is case 2, where it's equal to a negative. Okay? And now we just have a simple one-step equation. Add 3, y equals 9. Add 3, y equals, well, negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. So if I plug both of these in, so let's plug in negative 3 back into our original one. So negative 3 minus 3 would give us negative 6. Well, the absolute value of negative 6 is a positive 6. If I plug in here, 9 minus 3 is 6. The absolute value of 6 is still positive 6. So that's how that works. All right, don't worry about the graphing part right now. Just want to look at actually solving our equations. Okay? Knowing about case 1, set it equal to a positive. Case 2, set it equal to a negative. So let's do a couple more. I know these say on your own, but let's do them together because it's a little different. we get fun videos. So we have the absolute value of 2x minus 1 equals 7. Well, case 1, we're going to set the insides equal to a positive value. And case 2, we're going to set the insides equal to a negative value. And as you see, I got rid of my absolute value signs when I solved my equation. Now I have a simple two-step equation. Add 1, 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals 4. Or I can solve, add 1, negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6. Divide by 2, x equals negative 3. So what this is telling me is I could take either one of these numbers, plug it into the x, and that absolute value will be a positive 7. Let's look at another one. So we have absolute value of 3y plus 12 equals 6. So we're going to take the guts, case 1, 3y plus 12 equals a positive 6. And case 2, 3y plus 12 equals a negative 6. So we have case 1, case 2, positive, negative. The insides does not change. The only thing that changes is the number here. Subtract 12, 3y equals negative 6. Divide by 3, y equals negative 2. All right? So there's one. We could have the value of y equals negative 2. Or subtract 12. 3y equals negative 6 minus 12 is negative 18. Divide by 3. Y equals negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. So we could have these two possible solutions. So now this is the video. We're going to be working on some of these questions. You're going to have 2 today to finish. So you had to watch the video. You're going to have some more to do tomorrow on the same topic. So don't lose your notes. Make sure you write these down. Keep them in a spiral notebook. You should have a spiral notebook for your notes. So this way you can go back and reference, okay? Ooh, when I have my absolute value, I got to remember 2 cases. Case 1, positive value. Case 2, negative value. So I do recommend you to write these down. So when you're solving, there's 2 cases. We have positive and we have negative. Those are our 2 cases. The guts don't change when we set them equal to the positive and negative. The only thing that changes is the sign of the individual number.